Okay, welcome to the repair video of the Moog Grandmother Reverb spring tank, or attempt thereof. I'd like to thank Accutroics on YouTube for his repair video. He actually replaced the potentiometer in the filter knob, underneath on the filter knob. And so from his video, I'm pretty sure I know exactly which screws need to be removed to open up this case, as well as 2 ribbon cables and a 3.5mm jack connected to the reverb tank, which is what I'm actually going to be looking at in this video, since the spring's getting stuck. So let's go ahead and remove these screws. Run and get a Tupperware real quick. So something that we always want to avoid in repairs is losing screws, which is probably one of the ultimate disasters that can occur. Take it easy with this screwdriver as much as possible. And only remove the screws that are necessary to take this case off. I'm not even sure we have to take these 2 off, but we may have to, according to his video. And I'm not certain that the spring tank can be repaired, but we're going to take a look. Okay, so that's that's 8 there, and I know Accutroics removed 10. Okay, yeah, it looks like we may have to take the other 2. Excellent. Next, I'm hunting the 1/4" jack that connects to the reverb tank, or possibly the chassis. Hey, look, looks like a little bit of cobwebs in this one. This Moog Grandmother, this particular unit was used when I got it, and even the guy I got it from was not the original owner, so no worries about warranty here. And there's that's an RCA. We'll leave that in for the moment. Fill 2 RCAs. Okay, there it is. So there's the 3.5mm. The first ribbon cable needs to be removed is this one. So what I want to do, if possible, is take a look to find that retainer clip. Actually, let's go ahead and, oh, we've got hot glue on this one around it. Okay, that's no problem. So let's be careful about this other clip. Find the clip. May have to shine a light in there. I'm gonna be very careful with this. In fact, is it possible to take a look without removal? Question I'm asking right now. Can I leave that in and access what I need to see? And I think I can. But I don't want to pinch this keyboard or do any damage to the springs. Looks like some of them are. Okay, I see that they're compressed differently for the black keys than they are the white, so that's normal. Everything looks good on that. And here's the reverb tank. I wonder if we could just remove that in place and leave that. I'm going to leave this delicate 1/4 inch wide, approximate 3/8. I'm going to leave this, if you can see that, I'm going to leave this intact. And take a look at what's holding this reverb tank in place. As a matter of fact, it's just 2 screws. In fact, let's plug the RCA back in so we don't get them confused. Unless that's, oh wait a minute, that's the other side of this. So red is on the right. Go ahead and jot that down on the plan here, and then the white one's on the left. So no problem with that. Let's carefully lower this back into position and back out these 2 screws. Short screw. Actually, I'm going to hand drive this. Like that. Okay, that's fortunate. Interesting, we have 2 different screws there. I don't know if that was... Oh, I see what happened. Interesting. So I didn't apply excessive force there, but tell you what I can do. Just remove this manually. I didn't. Okay, I see what. I think this has been opened before. This is what's happened. Because we have a discontinuity between the type and length of screws and direction. Unless Moog did that, which I'm doubting at this point. Unless that screw broke. No, it didn't break. I think it's coming out. Fortunately for me, in this situation. Okay, now we have our subject. So now how do we determine the failure mode here in the spring tank? So what I've noticed is somehow these get hung up and can be freed physically. But I'm wondering if the whole assembly here, this is floating as well on springs. So the tank itself has a sub-assembly. I know in the case of some complaints I saw on YouTube with this situation that others are encountering, it was getting hung up on these clips on the side, but I don't think that's happening with mine. Let's see, it's normally inverted like this, so that may shed light on the failure mode. This is a Belton. Accutroics reverb tank and Belton. Made in Korea in 2019. So it's normally chassis up. And I can hear the echo when it's freed. I tap it a few times. I hear the spring vibrate in the tank. Then it makes kind of a loud resounding sound. As I've had to bang the whole unit on the table. I've shown this in a previous video. So it could help. Actually, I'm gonna go get some needle nose pliers and lift those wires up a little bit. Okay, on each side we have pretty close to the suspension. So there's 4 springs that serve as the suspension for this Accutroics tank. And I know that the original Tweed era Fender amps used Accutroics. Also, I had a Mesa F50 combo amp for a while, and it had an Accutroics tank in it. So that's a high quality reverb tank. But somehow the suspension's getting hung up on something, and I'm wondering if it's these wires on each side. I'm gonna go ahead and lift these a little bit carefully. Maybe you can see this the way I'm attempting to film this. Okay, also there's these little connectors. Make sure that they're all the way in. I'm going to shed a little bit more light on the subject. Might have been a benefit to have that on during the whole video, but here we are. So I'll try to be very careful here if I can in bending these, if it's possible to do so. Okay, I think that's put a little bit more distance. Because the idea here is to put a bit of distance between those wires and the suspension, but I seem to be a little resistant to that process. And I certainly don't want to fatigue these wires unduly. There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted to accomplish. Now let's see if we can do that on the other side. Still, I'm just trying to see if something can maybe fail in front of me. Because, you know, it's a real bummer when you go to repair something and the first thing you want to do is replicate the failure mode, and then the thing doesn't want to do it, or it behaves in front of you. I know in IT we used to say that we intimidated the computer into working when the boss comes in, says they have a problem, and then it can't be replicated in front of you. So there's nothing to troubleshoot at that point until the problem crops back up. And the only thing I can see as a possibility is this. Yet I want to make sure these wires, yeah, let's carefully bend these back some toward the chassis as well, toward the spring tank chassis, so that they're definitely and certainly clear. And could it be that these springs just get stuck together? And if that's so, see here, these Reverb springs are three of the same type of spring, and it could be they're just getting hung up on themselves like that. If that's true, this is just a quirk of an idiosyncrasy of this particular tank. And I have heard of Moog Grandmother owners replacing their Reverb tank with a different one. Yeah, and I'm not ready to do that. I would rather just simply turn the potentiometer or the reverb pot at the full counterclockwise position and use a pedal. So if this doesn't fix the problem, if what I've done here doesn't fix the problem, I'll simply just employ a pedal. So let's see how difficult it's going to be to put this all back together. If you're anything like me, you wouldn't be looking forward to this procedure, but here's the two screws. Yeah, I think that one twisted off. So if this is the same thread pitch, I may just use one of these. No, wait a minute. No, this is the one on the left, the short one. So yeah, I don't know if this has been worked on before. When I got this thing, it had a kratom sticker in the side, which I don't know anything about that, so I took that thing off. So I'm certainly at least the third owner of this synthesizer, but I'm very happy and grateful to have it. There we go. Be careful about this, of course. So these are the cushions for the tank. Okay, so yeah, I know, almost put it on backward. That's part of the joy of an uncensored video. Get to see all the mistakes and what's real, and this is real. about as real as it gets, so naturally it fits a lot better this way. Really about the same, but I'm glad I caught that, as a matter of fact. Because we're certainly not perfect here, and I guess that includes the makers of this Accutroics tank. Did not anticipate the spring hang failure mode, and I think, yeah, I know quite a few other people encountered this problem because it wasn't hard to find with a simple Google search. Okay, so that's somewhat snug. I backed it out a little bit. Actually, I'm going to back it out a little bit more just to make sure we have some play in this, and I can line up this short screw on the other side that they've put in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, not just because these things were made, I think what I'm going to do actually is just remove this tank, although before I do, go ahead and replace this. Oops. Okay, nice, wonderful. Because I'm too curious to see how she behaves. Up that screw head a little bit, but okay, that's nice. I'm gonna back this out a few turns for now. Of course we did. Here it is. Okay, well, nobody's perfect. I may have had a fatigue metal screw, or I may have done that. Let's get that hot glue out of the way. Excellent. So I was concerned about that for a minute, but not to worry. Now if I can get good. Give this enough clearance so I can take a look at where this 3.5 millimeter plugs in to the board under here. Looks like I felt it before. I know it unplugged in this direction. Maybe opening it up again in order to take this out. To reverb tank. Okay, go. Excellent, great. It's written right on the circuit board for me, right on the PCP. And it's a tight fit. Get some lift on this. Whoa, be careful, gotta be careful with that plastic from the keyboard. So I'm gonna lift this some, lower it. Yeah, this is not going to be the simplest part. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take the ribbon cable out one more time, thus freeing this up. All right, then we'll replace the ribbon cable. It was easy the first time, wasn't it? Ah! Excellent. Okay, let's just take a visual. Lower down that 3.5 jack, make sure it's not blocking anything. Okay, we should be okay for reassembly at this point. So yeah, I didn't apply much torque to this screw, but it seems like it sheared apart anyway. Next time maybe hand drive everything, but again, we've broken screws that way before, I think all of us have, so I'm not going to feel too bad about that, considering I had a reverb tank that was reliably malfunctioning on me, and it was quite annoying. If it continues that, I'll use a pedal. There's a lot of excellent pedals out there, even though I've just got DSP for that right now, for an alternative but DSP's decent sometimes. But we're going to take a lesson this time, and we can all enjoy the process of hand driving these screws back in as I do that, and try and line everything up in a deliberate and careful manner. Apply some patience, which we know is the highest virtue. So I had the option to do the little fast forward thing with special effects or something like that, but I'm kind of getting tired of lack of attention span depriving us of the joy of life. So we're going to take it easy and take a lesson from this fix so far, and probably just pause it to take it back into the laboratory and test it out. Studio. And ensure that basic functions are still intact and I don't have to have a disassembly all over again. I think I did notice there were a couple screws gone from the bottom of this unit before. I could be wrong. Yeah, I've got 4 more. Four more to go, and seems like there's a few other holes in the chassis. So let's see. 4 on this side, 4 on this side. Let's put that one in. And then 2 across the top. Just snugging these up, not avoid using excessive force with them. There's that hot glue I went ahead and removed. So yeah, hopefully that ribbon cable doesn't have a tendency to flop out, because if so, I'll know why they put hot glue there. I'll have to do that myself later. But live and learn, and that's what this is all about, is learning and having fun doing it. Even if a screw is subject to metal fatigue, or even if my screwdriver happened to break it, either way. Alright, so let me grab the camera and pause it for everyone. Shut the light down a second so I can see what I'm doing. All right, so let's see. The grandmother is in place. Wow. Well, the reverb's working great right now. Let's go ahead and tune this, put this thing roughly in tune. Got a little bit of crackle on the potentiometer. Well, that went away. I think I did spray deoxit on this. So yeah, I've got some kind of patch going or something, but let's take off resonance. Well. Oh yeah, that's filter ring. But we're testing reverb right now, so I'm not going to be too concerned with. Well, okay, so it's working great right now. It actually sounds quite, it's not, let's go ahead and turn it all the way up. Turn the release down. anyway, so yeah, I guess it's just a matter of use and see if that spring fails again, because often it would work for a while, then I would turn it on and it'd be stuck, or maybe it was an expansion and contraction over thermal gradients, temperature thing. But yeah, I'm just satisfied that everything's working after that reassembly. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and cheers.